Hi folks, we're going to take a look at number 8 from the Unit 3 assignment 1. So they want us to solve this logarithmic equation. And first thing I notice is that I've got the same base in all the logarithms, and I've got sums and differences of logarithmic expressions, which means I can use my first and second logarithm laws. Okay, so I'll start by using the first one. So I've got the sum of two logarithms, which of course is equal to the logarithm of the product of the inputs. So this is the same as log base 5 of x minus 1 times x minus 2. And then this logarithm minus the next one, I can use the second law of logarithms. That's equal to the log of the quotient of the inputs. So I'm going to do that all in one step. So all of that is divided by x plus 6. And then I've got 0. And this is where I want to get to, which is a single logarithmic expression equal to some number. So now I can rewrite this in exponential form. So that's going to be base 5 exponent 0 equals this expression here. So I'll start actually distributing. So that's x squared minus 3x plus 2 over x plus 6. And what I end up with is a rational equation. Okay, which I'll solve as I normally do by multiplying both sides by the lowest common denominator. So in this case here, just multiplying both sides by x plus 6. So 5 to the 0 is just 1. So on the left-hand side, just x plus 6 equals x squared minus 3x plus 2. All right, bring everything to one side. X squared minus 4x, and that'll be minus 4. And now I can solve this as I normally would. So it's not factorable, clearly. So I'm going to have to use the quadratic formula. So x is given by negative b. So that's going to be 4 plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. So this is for plus or minus, this is going to be 16 plus 16 is 32 over 2. All right, so these are the two answers which solve this quadratic equation, but of course it's not the quadratic equation that I'm solving. It's this original logarithmic equation. So I look at root 32. In fact, I don't necessarily expect you to simplify this, but it might actually help us out. We won't need to use a calculator. So here for plus or minus. So this is 16 times 2. So the square root of 16 is 4. I'm left with root 2. And then from here, we can simplify, divide the 2 to both expressions. So it's going to be 2 plus or minus 2 root 2. All right. So root 2 is some number bigger than 1. Root 2, so times 2 is going to be, some number larger than 2. Plus 2 is 4. Okay. So that means that this expression, that expression will all be positive if I input 2 plus 2 root 2. Okay, but when I do 2 minus 2 root 2, well, again, we said this number here was going to be greater than 2, so I'm subtracting that from 2. I'm going to get a negative number, which is a problem, because right away, when I try to input that into the first input, I see that some negative number minus 1 will still be negative. So we have to eliminate the second answer. So our only answer to this equation is 2 plus 2 root 2. All right, so just a recap here. Step number 1, realize that all the logarithms have the same base, so I can apply my logarithm rules. In this case here, I use the first law of logarithms, followed by the second law. And from there, by putting it into exponential form, I was able to turn it into a rational equation, which I solved. And of course, at the end, please be sure that you're checking that any answers you find do satisfy the original equation. In this case here, there was one that didn't. All right, that's it for this one.